as we bring on Bruce Bochy right here on 105.3 The Fan, one of the things that we're just talking about, Boch, that we loved is Dane Dunning is like, oh, I'm not in the starting rotation. I have to earn my spot in the starting rotation. I still have a lot to prove. I'll assume you got to love that kind of attitude in spring training.
You do. It's good for the players to have that attitude because it just, reminds them that they have to continue to get better and there's competition. Guys coming up want your job. In our game, man, you're pushing forward. You're trying to get better. You're building confidence, or you're slipping backwards. And so I love to hear that. Now it's obvious some players aren't concerned about it, but that's good for Dane. He saw last year we broke camp and he went in the bullpen. You have to love his attitude. He went down there and said, "Well, I'm going to be the best reliever I can," and what a job he did. He saved us with that role that he played.
I was hoping you could especially give us some great insight on the importance of spring training for the pitcher-catcher connection and what you learn, what you see in spring training.
It is important, especially with the players that are coming in here, like Knapp yesterday, but Kisner, for these guys, not just getting to know their stuff, but what makes them tick, and that's to me the difference maker in a regular normal catcher versus an elite guy. Yeah, the framing's great, the blocking the balls, that's important, but just how to work with them, how to get the pace that you want, build that confidence in them, and just develop that relationship. So it's critical that these young guys. I'm talking about my catchers competing for a job here. Get to know these guys. So now there's a sense of comfort when they go in the game. They know them. They know their strengths, their weaknesses. Of course, they know the hitters that we're attacking. But that's what we try to push on these guys and mix it up on who they catch in the bullpens and everything. So when they go in the game, they have a good idea who they are and who they're catching.
You talk about personalities. I just remember hearing stories of Tim McCarver going, oh, crap, because Bob Gibson, he might need to go out there. He's like, I don't want to go out there. Bob's just going to yell at me, and I'm just going to have to get back behind the plate. Was there anybody when you caught that you're like, crap, I have to? Not that you didn't like them as a person, but you knew the intensity that they brought on the mound, and you're like, he's just going to be mad no matter what I say.
Well, a really good friend of mine was very similar, Goose Gossage. He's out there blowing smoke like a big bull, and, he wants to go. Sometimes he wouldn't even wait for the sign. He's like, a fastball's coming. So, I'd go down and try to slow him down. He goes, oh, come on. I said, Goose, just slow it down here a little bit. And he wasn't too happy about it. But, afterward, he'd go, hey, it was the right thing to do. I get it. But that's who he was. And he wanted to get the ball and go. But at times he could, get a little wild on you, so you try to reel him in, but he wasn't a fun guy to go out there and try to talk to. In fact, Nettles went out there and talked to him one time. He says, what are you doing out here? You don't know anything about pitching. They were close friends, so you're always going to have a guy or two like that really doesn't want visits. David Wells, very similar, but from the manager's side, he just didn't. He wasn't big on visits, so he hated intentional walks. If you told him to walk somebody, he'd like look in there, so you'd have to go out there. But anyway, it's just the competitive nature of these guys.
How much do you discuss now that you're down to 4 visits in a game, that you're in the second or third inning? There's traffic. Your guy's in a little bit of trouble. That you're just like, I want to save one, or is that up to Mike Maddox on? I'm going to go out there and talk to him.
Yeah, here's how I feel about it, and I'll compare it to a postseason game. I worry about tomorrow. I'm trying to win that game. We need mound visits. I told the catcher, you need to call timeout. You see you're about to have a violation, call timeout. And Mike, he has the freedom to go out there when he wants. We get to 4. Hey, we're done. We know it, but, I don't believe in saving them. Now, when you get to the 9th inning, you get another one. So that's how we're going to look at this. And I just think it's important, at certain parts of the game, not be concerned with, well, this is our last mound visit. No, go out there and we'll worry about the next one when it comes up.
Is a catcher a therapist for the pitcher? Oh, we were kind of having that conversation, and your history and the relationships you have to build. Are you like a therapist for that guy?
I think in a way, I think it's important that they think like that too. You go out there and you have 30 seconds to get him in the right frame of mind or position, to make a good pitch. So, that's why I was talking about earlier. It's so important to know what makes him tick. What works with this guy. One guy may be a kick in the tail. The other guy may be support. It may be just giving them breathers. Something like that. But he is a therapist, just like a pitching coach. And Mike's incredible when he goes out there, has his 30 seconds, to get him where he needs to be. And so Jonah is a guy that we have spent time with him. Hey, take your time, go out there and talk to him. And Jonah's getting really good at it. And, you watch the good ones. Molina, I had Buster Posey. They have a knack of knowing when to go out there, when to call that timeout, and just change the game a little bit, because momentum's a big deal. If it's going the wrong way, it's up to the catcher to try to break that up.
Well, and that's one of the things, we had a great conversations with you all year last year, but one of the things that I wanted to kind of see from the players that have been with you is, what I kept asking them, what is Boch? And Kevin is like, he's kind of like a Yoda. He's all this information and all this. I said, he's like your neighbor that knows how to fix everything. And every one of your players that I've asked so far has said, he's consistent. And that's the exact same word, Kevin. You can say every player said he's consistent. And I wonder when that started for you in your life. Was it when you were a catcher? Did that grow as you became a manager? When that's the thing that they get the most out of you.
Yeah, I'll start with this. I think it started as a player, because I played for managers who, some were really vocal, tough, as far as looking at the results of what was going on. Like if you didn't make hard contact, in the minor leagues, I had a guy, Leo Posada. He just wore me out, with anything I did wrong. And so it just made me think, when I started managing, I had a tough time playing for somebody like that. And I'll give you a quick story. Ken Caminiti, when we traded for him, I'm sure you guys remember.
Oh, yes. Oh, of course.
We got him from Houston, and we were having a conversation. He goes, well, I just have a question. If I miss a ball or boot a ball, are you a snapper? I said, what? I didn't know what he meant at first. Get upset. I said, no. I said, you saw my career, a little bit of it. I know how tough this game is. And he said, well, my last manager, I'd make a boot a ball, and he'd throw a cooler in the dugout. So just reminded me that these guys watch the manager, and I did. And my first manager was very consistent, Bill Verdon. So, I try to treat players the way I would want to be treated, is how I look at it. So I guess that's where it started. Do I always get it right? No. I've had my times and my moments in the dugout. We're all human, and, we react sometimes. But I do know, too, that the camera's on me probably when something goes wrong. So, but, I made my mistakes in there, and I feel bad. I usually will apologize too if I thought it was showing up a player. I don't believe in going through the media. I don't believe in showing it on the field. There's times I got to bring them into my office and talk about it, but I like to do things in the right way, because that's how I would want to be treated.
I know it's early in spring training, but Zach Kent, Jack Leiter, Owen White, Cole Winn, it kind of feels like they're all in the same space, or might be competing for the same types of roles. Has anyone stood out from the pack thus far, or do you like the progression you've seen for the younger pitchers?
Well, in the early part here of spring training, I like how they're progressing. I really like how Jack bounced back to second inning. Actually, the first inning, he got better as the inning went. He just looked like he got more comfortable out there. In the second inning, I really felt like he was throwing with that looseness and freedom that he needs to throw with, and which it's going to be natural. Arizona, we had a lot of fans there, and Jack, I don't think is going to be, with his bloodlines, is going to get caught up in all that. But still, when you get out there, you're getting amped up. So I thought he reeled it in and had a good inning. Zach's done a nice job, and really all of them. Now, as we get into the second, third outings, a little more evaluating. Now, okay, you've gotten the cobwebs out. You gotten out there. So we'll look at the stuff, the competitive part of it, all those things. But these guys all can help us this year. Now, I can't tell you when. I mean, some could be breaking camp with us, but we got to have these guys ready. So that's what I try to keep in mind, whether it's a position player or pitcher. I want to get them all the work I can out here. So, if they don't make our club and we need them during the season, then that grace period of trying to get comfortable around the guys in the big leagues, it's a lot shorter by spending some time here in a major league field and playing with these guys.
I could ask you 1,000 more questions, but my last question will be from a pitcher asking about hitters. I know there's not a perfect answer. When do you care about the results of your young hitters that you're looking at to possibly make the team?
Yeah, I try to, probably a couple of weeks in this, start really bearing down on them, and a couple of reasons why. Well, first of all, there's three. One, Arizona. It's a tough place to evaluate. Sinker's not quite sinking as much, or the breaking ball. It's just easier to hit in the Cactus League, and results can fool you. You can have guys come off winter ball. Hernandez is having a great spring. He's just doing an incredible job. Well, he did play winter ball a year, so he's coming in here ready to go. But the other part is, as spring goes, pitcher stuff gets better. They get better command. They get sharper with the breaking balls and change ups and splits, whatever. So it gets a little tougher to hit. So and the hitter, sometimes they come in, they just don't have their timing. Look at Wyatt right now, Langford. I mean, come on, we know he can hit. So are we going to evaluate him on these 3-4? No, absolutely not. I'm going to tell him today he's still better than Willie Mays. I think he went over 22 and they called him up or something crazy like that. But I was in the big league.
It's a reasonable bar to set. I like it.
But so to your point, I just think when we get a little deeper in this is really when you'll see the guys. Last thing I'm going to add on that, I had a player last year. He couldn't have a worse spring, Jankowski. Now, I saw Jankowski, I saw Janny a lot in the National League West. And I told him, I said, I know you're a better player than this. He just had an awful swing and a lot of pressure involved, whatever. And we almost lost him because we didn't have a spot. But Leo got hurt, found a spot on him. Once he got on the team, all of a sudden we saw the Jankowski that we know. So, there's some other variables that I try to look into that maybe find out why. And so anyway, that's part of the job of the coaches and myself.
I know you guys got a ball game coming up, so thank you very much for the time, and we look forward to talking with you all week like last time.
All right, guys, good to see you, man.
Thanks very much, sir.
How about this weather?
I love it. It's freezing back in Dallas today, I guess.
Is it?
It's like 40 degrees out there.
Oh, I thought it was 90.
That was the day before.
Oh.
Texas weather will change on you.
Yeah. All right, guys, great talking with you.